Hot off the press, it's a fresh season of Raise Radio, where I cover important topics like spirituality and personal growth, food and healing, holistic wisdom, shamanism and the old ways, staying grounded in our tech world, and upholding humanity and the arts. In my podcast, I give you actionable strategies, light bulbs, and thought bubble moments. Thank you so much for being here and turning on my Mind, Body, and Soul show. However you show up today, you are welcome. All I ask is that you share it with just one friend. Thank you so much for being here. The challenge of coming of age in a society that does not recognize the coming of age in a healthy way means that most of us, as teens, attempt to find our sense of control and celebration through substances. Binge drinking or chronic cannabis use is something we are supposed to grow out of after school, after college, but not everyone does. Phone addictions start younger and younger. Wine culture leaks into our nightly living room, taking over our evenings out, paints over our painting parties, shattered hearts and shattered glasses. We turn to our substances in pain and in happiness. It is at every turn. This goes for any addiction or dependency that our mind has been trained to lean on as an escape. In the sad moments, the neutral moments, the quiet moments, and the celebratory ones too. The challenge of substances runs deep in most families. Let's go from it runs in my family to it ran in my family until it ran into me. Why I Quit Cannabis is still my most listened to audio since I started my podcast back in December of 2023. So if you're curious to dig more into my personal journey of quitting cannabis and why I choose not to smoke, that is podcast number 24, and you will be joining the ranks of so many other people who listened before you. And hopefully we're inspired. Today, I want to share with you a post before I clear off my Instagram. There's a few posts that I want to save. These are my most read, most commented, most shared posts of my Instagram's history. And I want them to live somewhere before I delete them. So I'm putting them over here on my podcast. Beware of government-grown marijuana. The stuff in the stores is not at all the same as what we smoked back in the day. It's sprayed with harmful pesticides, it's genetically modified and irradiated, it's dangerously high in THC. The average used to be 2 to 5%, now it's upwards of 30%. Oil, shatter, and dabs upwards of 90%. This can cause or trigger mental illness. The biggest pro-marijuana argument is being deficient in certain neurotransmitters. Those are just another brain chemical. There are botanicals that do the same thing. Neither THC nor CBD are the only option, and neither are they a cure-all. Our body makes its own weed from healthy fat, and I remember when everyone was talking about cannabis and everyone was talking about endocannabinoids, and I learned that our body does this when we eat right. So the argument of needing the endocannabinoids isn't right. Endocannabinoids can be found in omega-3s, so our body literally makes its own weed from healthy fats. And our nervous system can make its own safety and calm if we learn to regulate ourselves. I have never felt as much peace and calm in my body and my mind and my spirit since I got sober. And anti-inflammatory properties come in many foods and herbs and choices. So we don't need cannabis in our life just for the anti-inflammatory properties. We can get those so many other places. Anything the big guys want you to do right now is for their profit, not your wellness. When small businesses and health food stores were shut down in 2020, but dispensaries remained open as essential, that tells you something. We get told lies by marketing and just by our culture to make us believe it's about more than their profit. Like, remember the promise to have more cannabis research after legalization? It's been over 5 years and there has been virtually none because there's too much red tape. Now, as I'm saying all this, I want to make it clear I'm not anti-cannabis. I am pro-healing. I smoked for years, but I quit to be the most present and conscious person I can be. And this is for the same reason I got sober. I want to be as free as I can be. No regrets. And so many of us are coming out of the fog and doing this work. I want a world where we all do healing work on the root cause. And if you're still working on that, support your local black market, not dispensaries. When you purchase corporate government-grown, mass-produced cannabis, you are funding a more toxic world and the toxic values and ethics of those running this circus. Government intervention makes everything worse. Now, I wrote this post inspired by some of the words from @selfhealingmama on Instagram, because so many of us were saying the same thing back in 2020. Small businesses were closing, but liquor stores and dispensaries were made open as an essential. What? When we were promised more research on cannabis before legalization, it was an encouragement to move more folks over to the side of legalization. We have no research. We have dabs and shatter and dispensaries on every corner. But the two neuroscientists I listened to speak about this were disappointed to report that when it comes to research, there's been none yet. Why? Because there's too much red tape. They also told us all the healing things that cannabis does, that food does too, but you won't see ads for that. Now, I had a disclaimer in my post for all the messages or comments that are going to come in regarding medical cannabis use for pain. I'm glad you're getting the joint and pain relief that you need. As a holistic practitioner, I am always looking for the root cause to healing, and I'm always looking to alternatives. Nowadays, I'm often looking for alternatives to the alternative. As the counterculture goes mainstream, we have to start seeking alternatives to what's been sold to us as counterculture. We have to have our eyes wide open. I'm not saying this medicine doesn't have its place. Of course it does. All medicines do. I'm a proponent of a sober lifestyle, and I'm here to address the overuse of recreational cannabis use as a mainstream numbing substance in our culture. I am here as a proponent in the sober lifestyle, and I stand in this space of healing and sobriety because I'm not a fan of the normalization of being altered all day. This is only encouraged by those who sell and profit massively off of it. This is about the system, not you. If you're coming out of the fog and you need help coming into the sober lifestyle, send me a message. Let's do this. It's time.